Welcome to World League Wrestling Amplify. I'm CT Harrison, along with my cohort in crime. Oh, what's his name over there?
Yeah, old two names.
Two names?
Two
Martin
names.
Kadich, everyone.
Probably more than two.
Probably more than two. That doesn't count all the other names that people call you when you're not paying attention.
Yeah. So how was your week, man?
Good. Not bad at all. Very restful. Got a lot done, but some exciting things going on. First of all, I got to say a big thank you to our sponsors: Jim Chineri Ford, Jim Chineri Chevrolet, Traveling East Productions, CT Harrison Business Solutions, and
Impact Digital Designs.
Digital Designs.
See, I do know the sponsors, folks.
You were paying attention.
I do know the sponsors.
You were paying attention. I'm happy. I'm very, I'm impressed.
Thank you. I tried really hard for that one name. So,
So, this week, exciting things. We have a brand new Intercontinental Champion, the WWE.
That we do.
Did you watch the match?
I watched some of it. I'm pretty busy at home, dealing with all the hoopla of my house.
Okay.
And I've been spending a lot of time kicking my toes out there in the sun and kind of enjoying the peace and quiet of the outdoors. But I did catch a good little chunk of the Daniel Bryan AJ Styles fight, and
Dude, that was out of this world. That was good. Was it like 40 minutes or so?
I'm pretty sure that it went 30 minutes at least.
I'm pretty sure it was like a little over 40.
It was a lot of indie wrestling type things going on in that match too. They showed the WWE audience something they don't usually get to see, and that's always great when you get to have a difference or two of things you see. It expands your horizons a little bit in the world of wrestling.
Yeah.
But what got me was at the very end of the show, after the triple threat match with Heavy Machinery and Braun Strowman, that you see Otis standing there with the Money in the Bank right there next to Braun Strowman.
Hey, Tucky was trying to get him to cash in that night, remember?
That's right. And the thing is what I noticed most of all was Braun Strowman couldn't take his eyes off that Money in the Bank.
Yes.
So I'm beginning to think that maybe Braun Strowman's taken for granted that he's going to walk out of this next pay-per-view in your house as the champion, and he's facing The Miz and Morrison. And no matter how big you are, the two of them together, you don't want to scoff at the challenge it's going to bring.
No.
So
we also have the fourth chapter of the Undertaker series.
I'm going to have to wait for that to get on YouTube.
Oh. Okay.
Or come over here and steal your TV for a few minutes.
You could do that. I'll watch it again. That'll be on tonight. And we also have a pay-per-view tonight.
Yes, we do.
So, Backlash.
Ooh, now see, Backlash in your house. That's the one Braun Strowman's wrestling Miz and Morrison at. Sorry, I don't pay attention really well to a lot of things.
But the biggest news of all right now is as of it'll be the 16th, the governor of Missouri has said that we can go back to regular business. Certain precautions, of course, wash
That's
your hands and try to stay distant if you can, and blah, 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 blah. And the Lincoln County Health Department has issued a statement saying that they will go to phase 2 as well. So we're good here in Lincoln County, which means that World League Wrestling can get back to shows.
That's right.
So my question is this. If World League Wrestling does get back to its shows now in the next few weeks or month or so, are you guys ready? Are you as fans ready to get back together in the arena for some shows? I'd like to know. So let me know. Austin says yes, he's ready. Who else is ready? Come on, fire off. Tell me. I gotta know.
I am 100% ready. It's been way, way, way too long.
I've talked to several of our several of our athletes at World League Wrestling, several of our superstars, and they're all just itching. They're ready for training. They're ready to get back to business. You know, they've missed this so much, and I know the fans have missed it. Sarge, capacity for right now is full. You go full capacity.
But yeah, it's like fresh cut grass. I mean, you know, it's a family environment, and everybody that takes part in World League Wrestling knows that, and it's almost like spending time away from your loved ones, if not exactly like spending time away from your loved ones. You know, over the years, I've come to care about the people I work with quite a bit.
Well, so. that's the thing about World League Wrestling too. Is our fans, our family, our fans. It's I don't know how to explain it. It's just a really neat atmosphere.
You really, you know, wrestling is one of the things in the world that you kind of have to give your all to once you join, and once you take part in it, and you know they become your family. Even, you know, no matter what, it's a fam. You know, they're your family. They're the people you spend your time around. They're the people you talk to.
Yeah.
You know, the fans, the wrestlers, the other referees that I've encountered over my years. You know, it's like one big family, and we've all been having to stay away from our family for so long that, I mean, how can you not be excited?
I know one person who's real excited. Our guest today, the junior heavyweight champion, Sean Patrick, is going to be on the show here in just a few minutes. And one thing I will say, it should be a really good interview to sit down and talk with him. Not only is he the junior heavyweight champion, he's also a National Guardsman.
That's right.
Very proud. Thank you for that, Sean. Very proud of the work you do on that, just as much as I am of your in-ring work. I'm a big fan. So it'll be interesting.
I mean, I wasn't a fan of having to hold him back and, you know, having him clawing at me and pulling. But, you know, it all got worked out in the mix, and I know he's going to get his shot at John Webb soon.
He's going to have to. John Webb's got some he's going to pay for a few things, I'm sure.
I mean, you know, unfinished business is what it is, and I know John sees it as unfinished business.
Not to mention he's got the former junior heavyweight champion on his tail.
And he's just lurking.
And he's lurking.
I hate to use that word. But
No, it's actually a good word. He's lurking. He's in the shadows. And he wants that title back. I'm sure of it.
Well, and you seen in his defense against CZ,
yeah,
that the mind games from the upgrade is already starting.
Yes.
So, you know, and you know, as the referee in a lot of his title defenses, it's hard to tell in action how much he cares about that belt. But just the mindset that I've seen out of him and what he's doing since he's lost it shows that belt may have been part of what ties it all together for him.
Yeah.
So, you know, yeah, he's definitely a young man with a target on his back right now, and he's
for sure
made a big splash, and that's what happens.
Well, I say we get to it. What do you think? Should we give him a holler?
Sure thing.
All right, let's give Sean a holler here. Oh, here we go. Sean.
How's it going?
Hey. How are you today?
I'm good today. How are you, CT?
Did you make any shakes today?
I did not. I was free of milkshake duty earlier. I was busy in the back of the house. I was staying busy, but not shaking things up.
I was telling people, I forgot to mention that because I got to tell people this too. Not only Sean Patrick, our junior heavyweight champion, and not only is he a National Guardsman, but this man can make you one great shake or malt. I'm telling you.
Well,
fantastic.
And to add to that, he can entertain you while he does it too.
He can entertain. We're not going to talk. We're not allowed to talk about that.
We're not allowed to talk about that. But we're talking about that.
We're not going to talk about that little escapade of the shake making. We won't discuss that. Anyhow, Sean, great to have you on the show, man. Are you ready to get back to wrestling? Are you ready to get back to the arena? Ready to get back to training?
I am. It is one of those things that's really kind of at this point like itching away. It's because it's kind of so close, almost like that same feeling of if you have like a vacation coming up, you got like one more week of work before you can actually go. And so this next week's going to be long. I know we're going to get back to training relatively soon here, and so I'm ready to get back in there, ready to start bumping, ready to start hitting the ropes again, knock off some of this quarantine dust, and then kind of figure out what we're going to be doing with shows and get the ball rolling. I'm ready.
Well, as we found out, we will be going to phase 2, which means we will be able to get back to shows. And we're trying to find out from the fans if they're ready for it, if they're comfortable with it, if they're going to want to get back inside that arena. And I've seen nothing but positive results on that.
Well,
so.
Positive, even more than positive, because they're already starting to plan their barbecue outside the show before
Are they
the
really?
show. Yeah.
You talk about Sarge and
Sarge and Ronnie are already on it. They're talking about what they're going to do.
I can, in my short time kind of working with WLW, and you guys can attest to it, you guys have been there for years. One of the most unique things that I've seen with World League Wrestling compared to a lot of the other promotions around here, and this is not a knack at those promotions, but what's really nice about World League Wrestling is not only is there that family bond between a lot of the guys in the locker room, but it's also with the fans. And I know that sounds like cliche as someone that's there that's seen it, but it really is something special. There's nothing like seeing guys like Alex, seeing guys like Sarge show up, and so many more than just those two. But it really is a community effort. Like Troy's not a crazy big town by any stretch of the means, yet you see us time and time again pack out the arena. And it's special. You don't get that everywhere you go. A lot of the work falls on, the promoters and putting on these crazy shows, where this is a community that supports local guys. I think Derek might be the farthest one that travels, and that's special. You don't see that a lot, especially like for a lot of the shows that I watch. You just don't see that. And as someone that this is where my start is coming from, it feels good. It's nice to know that, we will always have that support and always have that family right back at home.
And it's funny you mentioned Derek, because talk about love of the company, love of family, love of wrestling. That man, I don't know if people realize this, but that man travels all the way from Colorado, from Denver, to here to do these shows, and that's love, man. That's love.
Yeah, Derek is
he's Derek. So I gotta ask you.
Yeah,
because I know he's probably listening. If he's not, he's going to. But chunky or creamy?
Oh God, I'm gonna say I know he hates chunky. I know he's a creamy guy, and I never want to side with Derek on anything. You'll never hear me say it, but I'm also I'm a creamy guy.
Oh, you hurt me.
Here's the thing, though.
You hurt me.
I'm a weirdo when it comes to it. So I don't like chunky peanut butter. However, I do like peanuts in my peanut butter. So I will use creamy peanut butter and then get a can of whole salted peanuts and put that on top of the peanut butter when I have it.
That's a different flavor, though.
Yeah, it's a texture, flavor, the whole shebang. It's a good time.
We're on a wrestling show. We're talking about peanut butter. Okay. So, all right. So let's go back just a little bit. Give us a little bit of your history. Tell us where you come from, and what got you to World League Wrestling.
Yeah. So, my route to wrestling was a little bit different. I remember when I was younger, I had a lot of friends that were big time wrestling fans, and I did not know a whole lot about wrestling. I actually didn't get into it until, I was still a child, I guess, but a little bit older. At the more like Ruthless Aggression era was when I actually can recall my first match I ever watched was King Booker versus Rey Mysterio for the World Heavyweight Championship at Great American Bash. And I watched it, and I remember I annoyed my friend that I was with because I kept calling King Booker that King guy because I could not remember his name. I was like, that King guy is so awesome. That King guy is so cool. And no, wrestling became a love. It became a passion from beating each other up on the trampoline and watching WrestleMania collections left and right. I absolutely fell in love with wrestling and grew older and kind of got away from wrestling a little bit. I started focusing pretty heavily on mixed martial arts when I joined the National Guard, and had a passion for that and a love for that. And it was actually before I deployed, I reconnected with one of my very good friends who introduced me to wrestling. We had been apart for quite some time, and I knew I was getting ready to deploy and wanted to reconnect with him, and so we reconnected on wrestling. And that first love that I had growing up hit me again, and I knew it was what I wanted to do, and I lucked out. Not many people get to say they live 15 minutes away from one of the best wrestling schools in the world. And I so happened, I did. So when I got back from deployment, I actually messaged Leland Race before I came back because the class was going to start in like July, but I messaged him and was like, hey, I get back at the end of May. Can I just jump ship early? Like, please, 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 please. And I annoyed him enough that he was like, stop messaging me and just show up. My God. So it worked out all right.
That's funny. I could see him doing that too.
Well, that's how Rex got his title shot too. He had just annoyed him until he gave him the shot. I mean, he's like, okay, I'll beat you up.
Right, yeah.
If you want a butt whooping that bad, sure, why not, kid? All right.
I guess you'll pay for it, but you can have the butt whooping.
So, how long have you been in the National Guard?
Oh gosh, so this August will actually be year 6. So I signed up in 2014, at the right after my senior year of high school.
Wow. What made you decide to do that?
So funny enough, I worked a job just outside of where the arena is at Houghton Mifflin Harcourt. And for those of you that don't know, it is a textbook warehouse. Mm-hmm. And it was the worst summer of my life. It was a good paying job, but I hated it. I hated it so much. And I was like, there's no way I could find myself doing this. And I kind of like wanted a way to motivate myself for college. I had some like theater scholarships lined up at where I went to school, but I never wanted like debt or anything like that to kind of hold me back from whatever my dreams might be, whether that was like to move to California and pursue acting or anything like that. And so the Guard was an opportunity to have free college, and I jumped on it. And it's slowly, I'm creeping up there. I think I have about 2 semesters left, and then I'll graduate with my bachelor's. So the Guard has been awesome. There's ups and downs, as with any career path that you kind of take. But, I've met some of the best people I've ever met through the Guard. outstanding leaders, outstanding individuals, great friends, and I don't regret the decision joining the Guard. And now I'm at that point in my life where I have a family, I have a beautiful daughter, a beautiful girlfriend, and as I get to that 6-year mark where it might be time to get out, there's a couple things to kind of balance and weigh out, and right now we're at that point of trying to decide if whether or not I'm going to stay in or if I'm going to decide to get out.
Gotcha. Well, you've got a lot of things going on outside of wrestling and outside of the Guard anyways. So, whatever that choice is, I'm sure you'll make the best choice of it. So,
yeah.
I've always been impressed with the amount of irons you throw into the fire and actually keep moving around in the coals, man.
Yeah. I've always lived that, that life where, I just there's something about staying busy that I enjoy.
Yeah.
I have my days where, it's me and the couch and those are good days. But for the most part, I've always believed that no matter what I'm doing, I can always do something better. Whether that's for me or my community or anything like that. I truly believe that in the life that we're given, not only is being a good person important, but doing what you can to set up the future for not only for your family, but for just the environment around you is super important for me. So that's why it's always just like keep the wheels turning.
Well, tell me about those first days at the wrestling academy, at the Harley Race Wrestling Academy, coming in there and actually getting to meet the man and be around the man and be trained in that facility.
Yeah. I remember walking in the first day and actually looking to my right, and there was the office where the window was open, and there was Harley sitting right there, and you could tell he kind of gave me a nod, but I was a new individual, so he wasn't quite sure who I was right off the bat. And I walked around and I shook hands with Leland and introduced myself to him and the individuals around there, and I got to meet Harley, and just a force in the room that will never be replicated. It doesn't matter where I go. There are very few individuals that you'll meet that were like Harley. And again, my time spent with him was relatively short compared to a lot of the people in this business that have gotten to meet Harley. But I can say there's something about him, and you see it, and you know when you listen to people talk about him. Whether that's like interviews, like, I listen to like CM Punk talk about him or Triple H talk about him. There's a demeanor to their voice when they talk about Harley Race, because there's a certain level of respect that just radiates off that name, and you hear it. I mean, an awesome guy. Never hesitate. I mean, you guys know, didn't hesitate to crack a joke or run someone over with his chair when he had time. So I,
or steal your cookie.
Yeah, no kidding. He had the grip of a python. I know my good friend Moses ran into that a couple of times.
Moses the Deliverer.
Moses the Deliverer. Yeah.
He delivered Harley's cookies.
Harley was and what I liked about one thing working with Harley was, we would be in the ring with Leland, and we would be doing our training, we'd be doing our practicing, and the second that if Harley was out of the office and was interacting with us, there would be, he was one of those perfectionists where he would see something and he would tell you, hey, you're doing it good. And he would know, this might be day 3 that these guys are working on these things, but he would say, you just tweak it like this and it's gonna be perfect. And then you would do that little thing that Harley told you, and boom, man, he was right. It was, whether it was bumping, whether it was going up for a suplex, I mean, there was a knowledge that he had that unfortunately, this world will never have again. And, it lives on in guys like Leland and, many, many others out there. But Harley really was, not just a part of an encyclopedia of wrestling knowledge. He was the whole damn set, and he's truly missed.
Oh, for sure.
Say, I always remember first time I come in, I was training to bump. The first time when I first started learning to bump, and I did a little bit, before Harley come out to see what was going on. He come out and he watched me, and Leland was like, "Here, tell him what he needs to do." And I took a bump in front of him. I was still on the pad, and he looked at me and he says, "That feel good?" And I said, "Yeah." And he says, "Okay, now do it again and do it right." and it didn't affect me as a getting after me or telling me. It was like, okay, you feel good doing it, now get in there and do it the way you're supposed to do. And then he sat there through the whole time just correcting little things. Every time you do something, he tells you something new, and he was amazing at bringing you along that road.
Absolutely.
And I see a lot of that in Leland now. I mean, when he's training something, he breaks it down inch by inch, every move that you do, and he looks at it, and he everything can be improved upon, and he tries to enable you to improve upon it, just like Harley did.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. That's one of the things I've learned in working with Leland, and he's a guy brought up by Harley Race, and now you see the entire weight of the company and the school, the promotion, rests on his shoulders, and he's a hard-headed individual, but
it's true. That's true.
Let me make it as gentle so I don't get too many chops when we get back. But if he wasn't that kind of hard-headed individual, who knows where we would have been after Harley passed on. There were
Amen
people that had said, where with Harley being gone, what's going to happen to the company, and yada yada yada, this and that. And then he dug his cleats into the turf, man, and worked his butt off. And I hate using the like with COVID coming up and everything like that. Like we had some shows lined up. I'm excited. I am excited for that schedule, that kind of thing to come back, and it's more than doable. I mean, the innovation that we've done in the short time since Harley's passed to really, really set the landscape for the future of World League Wrestling. A lot of that is owed to Leland Race. He has really, really put in the work, and as someone that's at the school, and I was living in St. Louis, and I moved out here for the opportunity to continue to pursue professional wrestling at the highest level. And with that, I put my faith, I put my trust in Leland. And, he knows that. He knows that about the guys that come to this school, that we're passionate about it and that it means a lot to us. And I fully believe Leland Race will not let us down. And he is not. And I don't see the train that he's riding on stopping anytime soon. He's outstanding.
Well, and he's got a lot of people like you and Moses and Derek and John, and we're all on that train with him. I mean, I honestly feel like as a whole, when we heard people talking about how hard it was going to be for us, we took it as a challenge, and it just cements our resolve to make this be what Harley wanted it to be.
Hey, I hate to cut you off, Martin. I do want to see. I'm looking at it live here. And I've seen so many of my friends check in. I want to give a shout out to Robert Penn, a good friend of mine that is now watching. Robert, I met in while I was deployed, and we connected by casually walking by each other at the gym, and one of us would be wearing a wrestling shirt, and so that is like how that friendship started. But that is a guy who, no joke, after I got back and started to get to training, would message me and ask me how training was going. And so I wanted to say a quick hi to him and hope he's doing well with everything right now, because guys like him really, really helped spark this this motivation that for everything that I'm doing right now.
Absolutely.
Right.
So, what was it like for you that very first match when you debuted?
Yeah. Gosh, I have been blessed in a lot of avenues in my life with the people that surround me. I have an outstanding family. I have outstanding friends and a support system unlike any other. And my debut match, I remember being so nervous. But I had friends travel from all across the state, some from out of state, to come to my humble debut, and I got to wrestle, as you guys know, John Webb. And John is a guy who, before I started wrestling, when I was watching World League, really, really admired. That's a dude, again, not a knack at John, but he's a guy who, might be 5'3", but he's got the heart of someone that's 6'8", had put in the work and had traveled the world and had done awesome things and has really solidified himself as a great wrestler in the United States and all over. And you to get to have my first match with a guy like that, someone that's kind of had done it all, was like, I was super nervous. I was like, man, I don't want to mess this up. And we went out there and had a blast. And there's nothing like hearing your friends and your family cheer and put in the same amount of effort to cheering you on than all the hard work that I had put in for months and months and months finally paid off. And it was special. That moment of hearing the bell and having my hand raised is something that is etched. I had a big old lump in my throat. It was definitely like a super surreal moment, and I enjoy reliving that when I can.
Yeah, I didn't get to ref your debut, and I did get to sit in the crowd and watch it. And it was electric. It was a really great moment. You shocked the world with a victory. And I don't know, man. It was indicative of how it is, when you get that moment and everybody starts hollering, and it fuels you to do better right there in the moment. Yeah. There's no thought process, and it allows you to just do what you do. And I was super proud of you in that moment, man, because I'd watched you start and come all the way up to your debut. Mm-hmm. And then to have you debut against someone like John Webb and actually pull out a victory. It's an unforgettable moment for me.
Yeah, so no, absolutely. It's a match that I can't wait to run back. I love getting to work with John, even though he's a bit of a hothead and whatever. But I do enjoy working with him. We always go out and put on a good match, and this time he's definitely got it coming, though.
Yeah,
he's definitely got it coming to where it's like we were having a good time, and then he wanted to get chairs involved. So it's like, okay, I see where you're at, buddy.
Well, John's taken a turn. His head's not in a place where it used to be. So, and his influences
he hangs
now
out with guys like Derek Stone too often now, and that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, that's another. We'll get into that as well here shortly, but I want to talk about. I want to talk about 2.0.
Yeah, let's talk. Let's talk
2.0. There was a change happening within him over a period of time, over a couple of months, that something wasn't right. Next thing you know, we come up with this. He switches into this new. I don't know how to describe it. Just another different thought process than was ever there before. And we come up with the upgrade, the 2.0. And then here the two of you are in the ring. And the match goes down. And it's thunder and it's lightning. And what happens? What happens? You become the new junior heavyweight champion by defeating 2.0. What was that like for you?
Oh, again, it's a caveat to the same feeling that I had with my debut. When you do things over and over again and you work hard, or at least you think you work hard, and to finally reach that, that level of success, it's not quite the peak yet. It's not quite where I want to be before it's all said and done, but it's like it's a stepping stone along the way that, again, one of those moments I won't forget. And again, it's that belt being the junior heavyweight champion now for me is something that I really, really take pride in. And something that I'm looking forward to when it's time to get back to wrestling, to be able to defend the belt, and go out there and continue to put on really, really good wrestling. That, again, another night that was electric. A lot of fans, a lot of good friends, family in the building, and to be able to get that win. And I remember a chant that was started after the match was a "You deserve it," and I kind of, I sit there and I chuckled because I think of all the things that I've gone through and all the things that I've done to get to moments like that, and to be able to share that with friends and family and the guys in the back was really, really special. And moments like that are what I want to recreate every single time I go back to the ring. And so, I'm ready to run it back with 2.0.
Well, it's coming.
He's a guy that, it is coming. And he's a guy, that I, again, kind of like in that same boat of Webb, no pun intended, as John Webb, a guy that I really liked watching coming up as I was getting ready to start working with World League Wrestling and really watching the guys that were there. And a guy that I really admired, and I remember talking to Stacey O'Brien about him at a Night of Champions event, and she said, there's something special about this guy. And I don't think at the time I truly appreciated that until I was actually in the ring with him, and at that moment I understood. Regardless of the things that he's got going on with him and his life, whatever mess that might be, there is something special about that guy. And I would expect to see very big things from him, and hopefully the very near future. But just to say that I got the nod over him, and I've got a victory underneath my shiny new belt because of it. He's a guy that, again, mad respect for, but at the same time, until he gets his mind figured out, I'm ready to go when he is. So.
Well, he seems to be almost stalking you. You had a match where video played, and you can't really be sure. When those videos start playing, we work in wrestling, we know. You can't really be sure that he's not going to come running up behind you or something in that moment.
I saw him creeping on me when I was at Kroger the other day.
It's very possible.
I wouldn't put it past him.
It's hard to tell nowadays because everyone has masks on, so I'm never really sure.
It was a little
look out.
It was a little unfortunate for Zach Hendricks, for ZC Hendricks that night, but you got the job done quick, so you could get back to that belt, and I understood. I understand.
And ZC's one of the guys that's been working hard in the back, and I know that he was just as taken aback from that as I was. I have to give credit where credit's due. ZC didn't need to give me time he did not need to give me the time of day to watch, to sit there and listen
No.
to 2.0, but he did. And at that point, I was so nervous about what was going to happen with 2.0 that the brain says, okay, there's steps we got to skip. We got to get this over with because I don't want to be a victim of having my back turned again.
Right.
And so ZC and I will run that back, and I'm looking forward to it. He's a great guy. He's going to have a great future in this biz. I've actually recently chatted with him, and quarantine's actually been good for him, man. Like he's been leaning up and putting in some really good work. So I would expect when we get back, when shows get started, a new face is EC. He's hungry, and I would love to share a ring with him again. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, those of you listening to the show, feel free to ask questions. You ask questions on social media, and we'll make sure that Sean answers them. So let me just throw that out there. Speaking of you talk about ZC Hendricks, and you spoke about Moses, and you find that locker room in the back of at World League Wrestling is something really special. And you said that once before earlier in the show, and it's something that I'm not sure. I've heard stories from other places, but I've never heard of so much positivity as what we've had. We've had a camp here this last year, and a trainer came in and likened it to the locker room in the back of NXT because of all of the support that you guys give each other constantly, and how you're always uplifting each other. And that's something special that I don't think you find everywhere.
And one thing to add to that is, and in my opinion, what is one of the most important things is not only are we uplifting, but we hold each other accountable. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is, again, one of those cliche sayings where it's like, it is a legit brotherhood, sisterhood, where, yes, uplifting when it comes to support and being there and having each other's backs, but at the same time, no one's perfect. And when people make mistakes, it is the same locker room. As we uplift, we hold each other together and we hold each other accountable, which is super, super important. Mm-hmm. That is special to me. It's important to make sure that everyone's on the same page, and everyone's not always going to be on the same page, but at least there's always an open conversation. There's, one thing that I've learned, again, in a super short span of time, is with the local scene, with wrestling, and this goes anywhere. This is not just a Missouri-based thing. This is anywhere. You kind of always hear is you got to know this guy, or you got to be in good with this guy, and this guy might not be the best dude, but if you're cool with him, he'll get you in with places. And with World League, working with those guys, it is quite literally like, hey, we're in this together. You're not going to have this guy in the locker room talking bad about this guy. It is, I will address you, we will talk about it, and we will figure things out if we're at a disagreement. And that is so important to me. And it's the same thing. Like I talk with a lot of the young Lions all the time, and it's the same thing. We not only do we uplift each other, tell each other like, hey, you did awesome out there, you're doing well, but at the same time, it's like a real thing. It's checking in on each other, like, hey, how are you doing? Do you need anything? It's not just like, hey, you had a good match. It's like, hey, how's this going in your life? How's this going in your life? And you don't get that everywhere, but you get it with World League. And I think because of that, you see that bond, you see that that standard that we hold within each other. You see it out in between those ropes. You see how good it is, how good those relationships are. And I kind of owe like a lot of that. Again, I hate giving him credit, but a lot of us look to like Derek Stone and kind of see what a lot of people. God, it sucks. I know. We listen to the things that a lot of people that have been in this business say about guys like him. And then although I hate him with all my ounce of being, I still see, he's always got people's backs, always, and that's cool.
Yeah.
And we want to be that level of cool. We take pride in that. And as ugly as he looks holding that belt, he's a good guy to be representing the brand.
Very true. So I want to get to some of these fan questions. Sarge asked,
Sure. Yeah.
what was wrestling training like compared to boot camp, and possibly which one was harder?
Wow, what a question, huh?
What a question. Yeah. With boot camp, I wasn't ever really frustrated with myself. I was always just frustrated with other stupid people that would get the whole group in trouble. Like, you could do the right thing at boot camp, and then some guy on the other side of the field would do something stupid, and then you would have to pay the price for that. Whereas, like, wrestling, I would be mad at myself because, like, if I couldn't do this thing or I couldn't get this thing right, I'd be like, I would be frustrated that I couldn't do those things. It's the same kind of like camaraderie thing. Again, like, there's still cats, boot camp was, a ways back. But there are still certain individuals that I keep in contact with from boot camp. We had that group, we had that camaraderie, and I have that same thing with the Young Lions, with the guys that I came up with in training. I know that, a decade from now, we might not all be working for the same company, but I know that, we'll still have that group chat. We'll still be checking in. We'll still be doing those things. A lot of less yelling at practice, though. Leland Race would make a good drill sergeant, though. He would make a good drill sergeant if that had been the life calling for him. Yeah. Harley Race would have also made a very scary first sergeant back in his day. So
you talk about the Young Lions, and this comment was made. Austin said, "When are we going to see Patrick versus Vaught?"
Oof.
Now that would be, I would pay to see that one.
Yeah.
Colton Theron Vaught.
That would CTV. Let me tell you something. Colton Theron Vaught has the energy of every kindergarten class in America. That guy has more energy in one arm than
Coffee
my goodness.
is unnecessary.
Talk about it, dude. I'll keep repeating it, but when I talk about uplifting individuals, CTV is the kind of guy when you get done with a match, he could have already had his or could be ready for his. When you walk through that curtain, there's a dude with a big old grin, clapping his hands, ruffling his curly cues, and he'll tell you, like, baby, that was the match. That was it. Oh, my God. Energy.
Great
energy. And he could have just gone for like 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and he's like hyperventilating because he was so excited to watch you go out there. So, yes, definitely would be a fun one. You might need to give me like 3 months to go through P90X so I can get the cardio on his level.
Right.
But yes, definitely one
insane.
that I would love.
He's insane.
It's ridiculous. That man does.
Nobody should ever have that kind of energy ever.
No,
I was like, I've seen him backstage.
If I've ever seen him not take like a shirtless gym selfie, like, I think he has moved into a gym. I don't think he lives outside of it.
I know, but those abs, man, those abs.
As I was going to say is you see, you never see Colton being able to stand still. The only time I see Colton stand still for any amount of time, and trust me, folks, it's a short amount of time, is when you guys are out there wrestling and he's got his eyes plastered on what's happening. from wherever he can get a vantage point. And
Absolutely.
he's going crazy the same as the fans are backstage, bouncing off everybody else for everything that's done good in the ring. I mean, he is like one of the biggest accentuate the positives in the back that I've ever seen.
Definitely the exclamation mark in that locker room. Like he makes every training session, every event, he makes it fun. I feel bad for his hands because he's always slapping them hard together, cheering the guys on. But
Right.
that guy's a ball of energy that I kid you not, CTV's the kind of dude that like deserves that 205 live. I know they work with a lot of they're starting to use like a lot of like kind of indie talent, it seems like, and I think he would be a perfect fit right now on that show, and then just be able to work his way to like the main roster before it's all said and done. That kid,
He could be
awesome.
he could be a stallion, man. He could be a bro.
He's got the hair.
I could
for it.
see
He's got
him.
a
I could
full-blown
see him
mane
with
on
Matt Riddle.
already.
He could be a tag team with Matt Riddle.
Yeah. He would be a tag team wrestling, and maybe never mind. I probably
Don't.
But yeah, he's a bro. Bro.
Well, got to
Hashtag
digress a little bit.
420 Yeah.
Ronnie, which you know Ronnie from the shows,
Yes.
he wants to ask, what is your career defining moment thus far, and who would be your dream opponent in World League?
Thus far, again, I want to go back. It's kind of like a toss up between, the debut and winning the belt. But I will say that debut, it was so much fun. I remember getting the nod, being excited, and after a match, it was so special for me to be able to see my daughter afterwards. And, she was so little. It's like everything that was going on is in over her head. But me knowing that all the work I'm putting in now is for the long term, and hopefully, what I do now and then what I do in the future is something that she can be proud of. And so I really remember that was just being done and being able to go to the back and hold her, as sweaty and smelly as I was. She was not having it, but that was special. And that's something I'll really, really kind of hold on to and remember right now. And as things get bigger and better, then moments that I get to share with my friends and family will continue to just be the best.
And who is your dream opponent in World League Wrestling?
Dream opponent in World League Wrestling. It's hard to say dream opponent because we have a stacked roster. Any of these guys I would love to work with. But I'm really excited. A guy that I'm really, really looking forward to work with because I love who he is as a person. But the one half of Alpha Omega, old Kamaro Jackson, I cannot wait to work with him. That is a bulldozer with the energy of like a crotch rocket. That guy is a big dude with a lot of power, but is versatile, is fast. Reminds me of like a Brock Lesnar in a way that the dude just moves fast and you don't understand how. I look at guys like that and I look at the motivation that he has in and out of the ring and I go, okay, that's a test. If I can beat guys like that, then okay, yeah, now I'm ready for now I'm ready for it. Now we're in the end game because that's a special dude, and that's a guy I'd really, really like to have a match with.
I'd like to see that.
Me too. I as I say at least once every show, I'd like to ref
Well,
that
we'll
one.
have to get Laney to ref that one.
Yeah, we'll get you some popcorn.
We'll get you.
I'm fine with the popcorn. We got to get it. We got to get the popcorn somewhere though.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that's all
yeah.
right.
Sorry, all we have is hot dogs, no popcorn.
I'll probably just watch it next to Colton.
There you go. Watch it next to Colton.
Yeah.
Oh boy. That'd be an interesting.
You don't need pyro when Colt brings the fireworks.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's
We ought to
right.
put a camera on him sometime when he's watching everybody else on the show wrestle in the back. We should put a camera on him just so people can see that this guy is exactly outside the ring, exactly what he is in the ring. You have no idea. This. Anyhow, all right. One other thing I forgot to mention: an aspiring comedian.
Yeah.
Anything now that everything's open up? Are you gonna try to get back to doing some shows and performing again?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, COVID kind of put a stamp on both wrestling and stand up, but absolutely. I've got a little bit of material written that needs to kind of be cleaned up and worked on and perfected.
COVID
but
jokes.
Yeah, I don't say that again.
COVID jokes.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Is it? Yeah. Well, yeah, maybe.
Could be. Maybe a little bit. Maybe a couple. But no,
Too soon?
Never too soon. Don't ever forget it. No, the thing about stand-up is it's a lot like wrestling, where you might you have this idea of, you think yes, this is gonna work, but then you try it out, and then you see it absolutely does not work, and you go back and you have to practice and practice to get it perfect. And wrestling actually, I feel like, helped make my stand-up better, because I had a better understanding of the amount of work that you needed to put in to be successful and to actually do it at a high level. And so, yeah, definitely now that I'll be able to do more open mics and get some more practice in, the goal is, if not at the end of this year, because we're about halfway through the year and it takes a little bit of time, hopefully sometime next year, maybe have another hour of comedy done and be able to do a pretty big show like the last one.
Let me know. We should film one of those.
Please, yes, yeah. Oh, we'll film it and then never be able to show it to anybody. But yes, absolutely.
So, okay, give us a one funny WLW story. Anything that happened in the back room or during practice. Anything. Give us a funny story.
See, I have a million, but I think this is a GPG show.
Yeah.
And
I so hate labels.
Gosh. See, it's one of those things where it's like, you had to be there.
I mean, Derek asked a question. Go ahead.
One of my favorite ones, I guess, involved ZC, and I want to say it was maybe Colton. I don't remember completely, mainly because I was laughing so hard after it happened. But we were practicing a little move that we called a leapfrog, and
no, I know
to make a short, to make it short, let's just say there wasn't a whole lot of leap to this frog, and someone's head went to a place where I don't know if it ever wanted to go to. But ZC got his money's worth out of practice that day. I'll say that.
Lessons in ducking and jumping all at the same time.
Yeah, he had to sit on a donut for probably the rest of the week, but such is life.
Okay, another question that just popped up. Derek Stone.
Oh, he's here.
Would like to know.
He finally got done petting huskies to listen to.
He did. He finally got done petting huskies. Derek wants to know, who is your favorite comedian?
My favorite comedian. Goodness. Okay, so I will say my favorite. I'm gonna give a list because there's a couple different styles. It's kind of like movies where it's like there's a day I'm in a mood for a certain movie and it changes. But Dave Chappelle obviously is the greatest to ever do it, in my opinion. I love watching Dave Chappelle. I love listening to him, not just speak comedy, but also from the heart. Super funny guy, and I like the way he molds his craft. I look to him when I do my own comedy to kind of help guide that way of, okay, this is where you want to be. This is the level you want to be on. I love guys like Anthony Jeselnik. But St. Louis, let me tell you something. St. Louis is packed with amazing comics that I hope people get to watch one day. Whether or not it's because they go see their shows or those individuals get specials of their own and really get thrust in the limelight. But one of my favorites to watch, Todd Jenkins, amazing St. Louis comic. Lucas Hindeleiter, amazing St. Louis comic, now lives in New York. Nathan Orton, Randy Orton's brother, actually, amazing St. Louis comic. That whole family is just breeding superstars, man. I could go on. Adam Thacker, amazing guy, opened for me during my show. Super funny, super funny individual. There's young guys. Andrew Gaffigan is one out of St. Louis, young kid, but so funny every time he's up there. Ronaldo Macardo, I think I have his name right. St. Louis guy, around my age, maybe a year or two younger. So funny. I encourage you, if you're in this area, go to some of these open mics, and you'll recognize these names. And these are people that, they will be working on a new joke, like it's brand new, and they kill it. They will tear down the roof of the club that they're in, and they're on like the third day of working on this joke. Like, these are some funny dudes. And I'm really, I hope nothing but the best for them. Like, St. Louis is a good comedy town.
Very good. All right. Last minute plugs. Anything you want to put out there? You want tell everybody about your amazing shakes and food out of McDinger's? You want to?
Yeah.
Anything you want to do?
I mean, I guess I could totally plug. Yeah, I'm the
shameless plugs, dude. Shameless plugs.
Shameless plugs. You only get them so often. No, yeah, I'm the general manager at a joint in Eolia, Missouri. So if you live in the Pike or Lincoln County area, definitely come out. We've got all kinds of amazing food.
The tenderloins.
Milkshakes were a new thing that we do that are killer, hand spun, each and every one. We put in actual effort to give you the best one that you can. We've got a bunch of cool stuff coming up this July, August, September. Expect every weekend to be pretty much packed with music and live entertainment. It's a bunch of cool stuff. I've been blessed. The people that own McDinger's, Stacy and Jim McKinney, some of the best people I've ever met. When I had taken the job out there, I had a conversation with them, and it all kind of worked out where I said, look, my dream is stand-up and wrestling. These are the two things that I want to pursue. I want to move out here to be able to focus on wrestling, to be able to focus on stand-up. And they said, cool, you tell us when you have that, and you do those things. And they've been awesome to me. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be able to do wrestling and do comedy and work to be able to support my family. So big shout out to them. Thank you for everything you guys do for me. Again, big shout out to all my friends, family, mom, dad. Thank you guys for putting up with my shenanigans and continuing to tell me that I'm not completely stupid for dropping everything to pick up professional wrestling. All my good friends, Corey Inez, thank you for getting me into the National Guard, even though it's caused me more headaches than anything else in my life. I still do appreciate it. Hank Owens, Jay Enzer, Josh Brennan, thank you guys for being the individuals that I can shoot random text messages to, say, hey, do you like this thing? How do you think I could do this in wrestling? And really, motivation from them is a big thing that keeps me going. And everyone else that just comes out and supports, man, it means more than any of you guys will ever know. And I hope, one day, when whether it's Raw or SmackDown or AEW comes into town, my big ugly face is plastered on the side of one of those trailers that's carrying the ring, and we can all say at the same time, we made it. But right now we're right here, and we're gonna do it big for World League Wrestling.
Sean, thanks for coming in, man. We appreciate you coming to the show, and I'll see you probably next week.
Right. Yeah.
Before too long. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be sure to
good
shower and put on
talking to you.
deodorant for you guys.
Please do. Please
absolutely.
do.
All right,
yeah.
you guys don't have too much fun. It was good chatting with you guys. I will see you before too long. Okay.
All right, Sean. Thanks a lot.
See you soon.
All right.
Sean Patrick, the WLW Junior Heavyweight Champion.
You know, I think it's indicative of all of the young men in the Young Lions division, man. They all seem to be locker room leaders before their time in their attitudes and their work ethic, and and it doesn't shine any better than it does with Sean, because he does manage to keep moving all those irons in the fire. And
I wonder if Derek made it in time and was just being silent to actually hear that Sean likes peanuts on his peanut butter.
I'm pretty sure he heard that.
Think so?
If he didn't, he will. So,
I'm gonna
hopefully
I'm gonna be an instigator, and
hopefully there won't be a peanut butter match in their future.
Oh, there's totally should be. Oh, I'm gonna talk to the front office about that one. Peanut butter match between him and Derek Stone.
I'm not reffing that.
Oh no! You need to ref that one. You totally need to ref that one. Hey, thanks again to all of our sponsors: Jim Chineri Ford, Jim Chineri Chevy, Impact Digital Design, CT Harrison Business Solutions, Traveling East Productions. That was a great show. We want to thank all the fans for tuning in and listening, and look for us very soon with some announcements, shows, and things coming up. World League Wrestling is coming back. We are here. We're not going anywhere, and we'll be back with more shows very, very quickly, along with other news, I'm sure, in the very, very near future. I'm CT Harrison.
I'm Martin Kadish.
We love you, and there ain't a damn thing you can do about it.